In 2016, my parents bought a two-story house in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. The neighborhood was the kind with trimmed hedges, American flags clipped neatly to porches, and kids riding bikes in slow, harmless circles. The house itself was nothing remarkable. Beige vinyl siding, dark shutters, a small maple tree in the front yard. It looked like every other house on the street. That was the comfort. Nothing about it warned you. The previous owners had relocated unexpectedly. That's what the realtor said. Quick sale, no negotiation. They left a few things behind in the basement. Old paint cans, a broken stepladder, a box of Christmas lights. My dad loved projects. Before we moved in, he repainted almost every room. New laminate floors, updated fixtures, replaced door handles. He worked late into the night, listening to classic rock while the smell of primer filled the house. Everything changed except one room, the upstairs guest bedroom. It was small, narrow window, beige carpet, pale cream walls that looked slightly uneven. Dad painted it the same soft gray as the rest of the upstairs. The next morning, the walls looked wrong. The color had bled through in darker streaks, not dripping, not bubbling, bleeding, like something underneath the paint had pushed upward overnight. Dad assumed it was cheap primer. He sanded it down, applied a heavier base coat, waited the proper drying time, painted again. The following morning, the streaks were back, but they weren't random. They were vertical. 3 long lines on the far wall, stretching from near the ceiling down toward the baseboard. My mom stared at them and said quietly, "Those look like fingers." Dad laughed it off. "Moisture, old drywall, happens." He cut out the section and replaced it entirely. Brand new drywall, fresh mud, sanded smooth, primed, painted. Perfect. That night, he stood in the doorway admiring it. The next morning, the lines were back. Not faint, clear. 3 dragged streaks as though something had pressed from behind the wall and pulled downward. That was when Dad stopped. "We're wasting money," Mom said. "Just leave it." So we did. And that's when the smell started. Not every day, not constant, but randomly, usually at night, the upstairs hallway would fill with the scent of damp soil. Not mold, not rot, earth. Like someone had opened a bag of fresh dirt inside the house. Our dog, Murphy, noticed before we did. He refused to walk past that room. He'd lower himself to the carpet and press against the opposite wall, growling under his breath. If we tried to pull him past the doorway, he'd whine and claw backward. Murphy had never acted like that before. The first time I heard the scratching, I thought it was branches outside. It was 2:03 a.m. Soft, rhythmic, scrape, pause, scrape. It was coming from upstairs, from the guest room. I lay in bed telling myself it was pipes cooling, the house settling, some logical explanation. The scratching stopped, then resumed. Closer. I went upstairs. The hallway was dark, lit only by the dim orange glow from a streetlight filtering through the window at the end. The guest room door was closed. The scratching was definitely coming from inside. I stood there, hand hovering over the knob. It stopped. Silence. I opened the door. Nothing. Just the faint smell of soil lingering in the air. The next morning, the door was open. We always kept it closed. Inside, the far wall had changed again. The paint had peeled away in 3 clean vertical strips. Behind it wasn't drywall. It was plywood. Dark, rough, old. Dad swore he'd replace that entire section. He had photos on his phone from when he did the work. In the photos, it was drywall. Now it was plywood. He grabbed a pry bar. Mom begged him not to. He pulled anyway. The plywood splintered off easily, revealing a hollow cavity about 3 feet deep between the studs. Inside was dirt, packed dirt, dark and damp like it had been shoveled in by hand. Upstairs, inside a wall. Dad stared at it for a long time. "There shouldn't be soil here," he muttered. He dug into it with a small shovel. It went deeper than expected. The cavity extended downward past the floor level, like a narrow vertical shaft. He didn't find bones, didn't find objects, just more dirt. We hired a contractor. The contractor stood in that room, shaking his head. "There's no reason for this," he said. "Structurally, this makes no sense." He removed the soil, sealed the cavity, installed fresh drywall, painted. It looked flawless. That night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., I woke up, not from scratching, from breathing, soft, right beside my ear. I bolted upright. Nothing was there, but the sound continued. Slow inhale, slow exhale. Not in the room, inside the wall. I pressed my ear against it. The breathing stopped. For a moment, there was nothing. Then, scrape, right where my ear touched. Slow, deliberate, as if something inside the wall had felt me listening and moved its fingers in response. I stumbled back, heart pounding. The scratching traveled along the wall, following me, stopping when I stopped, resuming when I moved. The next morning, faint streaks had appeared on my bedroom wall, 3 vertical lines. Mom didn't want to talk about it anymore. Dad barely slept. Murphy stopped eating. 2 nights later, the light in the guest room flicked on by itself at 2 a.m., then off, then on again. We hadn't even put a bulb in that fixture yet. Dad checked the wiring. The switch was off. The breaker hadn't tripped. The bulb wasn't connected to anything, but it had been glowing. I started having dreams. I'd be standing in that guest room, the far wall gone. Instead, there was a vertical tunnel of soil stretching downward into darkness, and from deep inside, something was climbing upward. Not fast, slow, dragging itself up with long, patient movements. Every night it got closer to the opening. The scratching in the house grew louder. Sometimes it came from the hallway, sometimes from the ceiling, sometimes from directly beneath the floorboards. Always 3 slow drags. Pause. 3 slow drags. One night, I woke to find my bedroom door open. I never slept with it open. The hallway light was on. At the far end, the guest room door stood open too. Inside, the light flicked on, then off, then on again. I stepped into the hallway. The smell of earth was overwhelming, thick, fresh, like something had just been dug up. The guest room looked different. The far wall bulged outward slightly, as if something large was pressing from behind it. Then, 3 indentations appeared in the paint, long, parallel, sliding downward slowly. The drywall cracked. A thin line split from ceiling to floor. Soil began to trickle out at the baseboard, and from inside the wall, a hand. Not pale, not human, dark, caked in dirt, long fingers, too long. It pressed against the thinging drywall, testing. I couldn't move. The wall bowed outward again. Then it stopped. Everything stopped. The light shut off. Silence. The wall returned to normal. No cracks, no soil, no damage, as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Dad called a realtor. We didn't argue. We didn't pack slowly. We left. The house sold within 2 weeks. New owners, a young couple. I never told them what we saw. A year later, I drove past the neighborhood out of morbid curiosity. The house looked the same, except the upstairs guest room window had been boarded from the inside, and at exactly 2:17 a.m., as I sat parked across the street, the upstairs light flicked on, then off, then on again. And through the thin gap at the edge of the board, I saw something move. Not inside the room, inside the wall, like soil shifting, like something turning around, waiting. I don't think we disturbed it. I think we uncovered it, and whatever was sealed inside that house is still trying to finish climbing out. I found the job on a local listing board I'd used before. Nothing unusual. $200. One night. Cash. Watch our daughter. She sleeps early. Remote house. No visitors. No last name. No profile picture. No phone number. Just an address. I almost didn't go, but rent was due. The house was farther out than I expected, past the last gas station, past the last row of streetlights, past the point where other cars disappeared. The road narrowed into something barely paved. 10 minutes before arrival, my GPS glitched. The screen froze, then recalculated, then spun, then went black. No signal, no service, no data. But I was already there. The house sat at the end of a long gravel path surrounded by trees so dense they swallowed the sky. 2 stories, all the lights on, no neighboring homes, no fences, no sound, not even insects, just stillness. The kind of stillness that feels intentional. The front door opened before I knocked. The mother stood there. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, pale, eyes sunken, hands trembling slightly at her sides. Behind her stood the father. He didn't blink. He didn't greet me. He just studied my face the way someone inspects something fragile or replaceable. Inside, the air felt colder than outside. Not air-conditioned cold, basement cold. The mother spoke first. "Thank you for coming." Her voice was tight, controlled, like she was trying not to rush. Then they gave me the rules, not suggestions, rules. 1, don't go into the basement. 2, if you hear her talking after 10 p.m., don't answer. 3, if she stands at your bedroom door at midnight, pretend you're asleep. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it felt like a joke. Neither of them smiled. The mother stepped closer, so close I could smell something metallic on her breath. "She mimics," she whispered. "Not she lies, not she sleepwalks. She mimics." The father finally spoke. "Do not respond to it." It. Then they left. No goodbye to their daughter, no hug, just out the door, engine starting, headlights disappearing down the gravel path, and silence swallowing the house again. Her name was Emma, 6 years old, sitting cross-legged on the living room floor when I turned around. I hadn't heard her walk in. She just was there. She didn't smile, didn't wave, didn't blink for an uncomfortable amount of time. She stared at me like I was something new she'd found, something she was figuring out how to use. "Hi," I said. She tilted her head slightly, not in a childish way, in a measured way, like she was adjusting to my shape. Around 8:30 p.m., without being told, she stood up and walked upstairs. No goodnight, no sound of feet on wood, just gone. By 9 p.m., the house felt hollow, too hollow. I went upstairs to check on her. Her bedroom door was slightly open. She was in bed, facing the wall, blanket pulled perfectly to her shoulders, not moving. I stood there longer than I should have, waiting for breathing. There was breathing, but slow, too slow. I closed the door gently, and that's when I heard it. From downstairs, one step, pause, another, slow, careful, measured, not random movement, not house settling. Wait. I froze halfway down the stairs. Hello? My voice sounded small. The footsteps stopped. Then, from the kitchen, I heard my own voice, soft, whispering. Emma. Not similar, not distorted. Perfect. Same tone, same breath pattern, same hesitation. It wasn't an echo. It wasn't imagination. It was my voice, calling her. I walked into the kitchen slowly. Nothing, but the back door was open, just slightly, enough to let in cold air. I was certain I had locked it, certain. 10:07 p.m. Upstairs, giggles, high, light, Emma's voice, but something was wrong. It was slightly deeper, like someone older trying to imitate a child, practicing, mocking. I moved toward the stairs. Each step creaked louder than before. Her bedroom door was wide open now. The bed was empty, blanket neatly folded, closet closed, bathroom dark. Then, breathing. Behind me, right at the top of the stairs, close enough that I felt it against my neck. I turned. Emma was standing there, except she was taller. Only by an inch or two, but noticeable. Her head tilted farther than a neck should allow. Her smile stretched too wide for her face. Her eyes didn't blink, and when she spoke, it was in my voice. Calm, even, exact. Don't answer after 10. Something slammed below us, hard, violent, like metal hitting concrete. Emma didn't flinch. She just stared, then slowly turned and walked downstairs. I followed. I don't know why. Maybe fear overrides logic. Maybe something wanted me to. The basement door was open. Rule number 1, don't go into the basement. The light at the bottom flickered weakly. Each step felt heavier, colder, the air thick. Halfway down, I saw them. 3 shapes, standing in the dark, still, watching. One small, one tall, one shaped exactly like me. And the one shaped like me moved first. It turned its head slowly, smiled with my teeth, and said, "You weren't supposed to come alone." I ran, not thinking, not planning, just running, up the stairs 2 at a time. My lungs burned, my vision tunneled. Front door, locked. I twisted the knob violently. Nothing. Deadbolt wouldn't move. Windows, sealed shut, like they'd been painted closed years ago. My phone, no service. Not even searching, just empty bars. Behind me, footsteps. Not one set, several. Slow, measured, ascending the stairs. Not chasing, not rushing, certain. Then, the mother's voice from the hallway downstairs, soft, calm. "We're home." The doorbell rang, once, clear, polite. I stared at the small security monitor mounted beside the staircase. The front door camera flickered on. The parents stood outside, smiling, perfectly still, too still. But they weren't alone. Between them stood Emma, holding both their hands, looking completely normal, hair brushed, eyes bright, smiling sweetly. She raised her free hand and waved at me, slow, controlled. Then, who was upstairs? Something touched my shoulder, Not sudden, not violent, just resting there. Cold fingers, long, too many joints pressing into my skin, breathing near my ear, slow, familiar. Then it spoke in my exact voice, same cadence, same breath. You should have pretended. Morning. I don't remember falling. I don't remember screaming. I don't remember the stairs. I woke up face down in gravel, cold, damp, my mouth filled with dirt. I rolled onto my back. Trees surrounded me. No house, no driveway, no mailbox, no tire tracks. Just woods. Endless woods. My car was parked crooked nearby, like I had arrived in a panic or left in one. My phone buzzed in my pocket. 14 missed calls. Unknown number, all between 10:07 p.m. and 2:02 a.m. Voicemails. I didn't play them. I didn't need to. I already knew what they'd sound like. Aftermath. I reported it. Police searched. No property records, no recent construction, no listing, no digital trace of the job. The message board post was gone, IP address untraceable. The officer asked if I'd been drinking, if I was under stress, if I had a history of sleep disorders. I stopped answering because deep down, I knew something worse. It wasn't random. It wasn't a ghost story. It wasn't even about Emma. It was recruitment. Now. Sometimes when I'm alone, usually around 10 p.m., I hear something behind me, soft breathing, practicing, repeating, trying on my voice like it's clothing, perfecting it. Sometimes when I speak, I hear an echo half a second late, not from the room, from behind my thoughts. And last week, I got another notification. Different number, different listing board, $250, one night, remote location, cash, and at the bottom, just one line, don't answer after 10. This time, it included my full name.